Before we do any carving, we want to look closely at our hand. So this is what I'm going to just do now. The thing about the hand is it's got this series of joints, obviously, that fold up like this. And if you just forget for the moment all the separations in the fingers, can you see that there's a pivot point there, and there's a plane that comes down here to this knuckle there, and another plane that comes down here to there, and then another plane here. So you have a series of steps or planes like that. So that's very important to establish, first of all, these planes, putting the thumb to one side. So have a look at your hand and see how that goes like that. Also see if you look at your hand, and all hands will be very similar, looking at it in this plane, you can see that because this finger and this finger are a bit smaller, the whole thing curves like this. So the knuckles actually curve in like that. If you were to put some sort of film over here, you would see a sort of blocky shape. Yeah, that goes dunk, dunk, dunk like that, and then curves this way a little bit. Okay, and that's really what we've got to create first of all. That's the main shape. Then we can subdivide into various fingers and knuckles and so on. Now the thumb will sit wherever you put it, but sit something like that at the top there, like that. Okay, so now if I line this up on my piece of wood, I line my hand up like this, taking the sort of position I want. Not like this, not like that, just how you'd hold a vase, a little bit curved out there, a little bit perhaps. So holding it like that there, I can see, just looking down, that this plane here, the knuckles there, are somewhere about there. Okay, so that's the sort of high spot where these knuckles will be there. Put the thumb to one side, the knuckles come down like so to this set of knuckles down here, but the thumb's in the way at the top, so we mustn't take wood from here where there's going to be a thumb. Okay, so we've got to leave an area here for a thumb if we take wood across underneath. Then looking here, it comes back, and I can see that if I drew a plane down here, I could see where this knuckle lies down there. So I know that this corner, allowing wood for the thumb, that has to be removed. Bear in mind that the whole thing is tilted, and keep an eye on this line here, because we're not actually vertical like that, we're a little bit tilted. Okay, and then I can see also that from here I go in, just looking down and go in here, like so. And you can just make a few tentative marks like this. So the thing is to look at your hand, and don't forget you've got all your pictures which you can refer to. That's really quite important, because sometimes you don't want to be stopping to looking, you can just refer to these. So once we've got a sense of where this is, keep looking at your hand, keep holding that picture in your head, and then look at what are the big pieces that need to stay, like where the knuckles will be. Yeah. And the big pieces that need to take away. Don't worry about dividing anything up or anything like that at this stage, just like that. I'm going to start with this knuckle here. So coming round what will be the knuckle, take this bit off. Using a fairly wide flat gouge, I think that keeps us thinking about planes at this stage. So there's the first plane taken down. I've gone square down like this, square, just straight down. Now you see that this was pushing down or knocking down when I used the mallet, and that's just an effect of the mallet. It's quite a hard, sharp knock that moves things in vise often. So what I've done here is I put a batten across the vise so that I can actually stop that happening. Now from here, that really represents shall we call it, knuckle line 1. That's this one here, the main big knuckles here. But of course it doesn't go like that. It goes small, as we've said, towards this bottom. So what I'm going to do is do the second plane, that is from, you know, this first set to this knuckles 2 here, there, like that. But as I come in to do those, of course my thumb is going to be in the way a little bit, so I have to remember that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over this way and work from that side, from this side here. But let me just go to the bottom here, because what's happening is, this is the first knuckle, but it's sort of here really, and then these fingers come around there like this. So there'll be this sort of effect going round. So there's still quite a little bit of wood here. So what I'm going to do is come round this way in the vise, leave a lump here for what will be the thumb up here, and we're going to take this down here in this corner down to what would be this knuckle. So keep looking at your hand and see what you're doing. So you've got the first knuckle, then this here. Now we're going to come down here. So we're going to cross the grain, so it's quite hard, but just quietly take it away, and you can come in, as I say, towards this bottom part more. Drawn a line across here. So I've actually turned the thing upside down, and I will keep orientating it differently. There's the top now. This will be where the thumb is. So let me I'll just put a big mark there for you. So that's thumb here. So that's our orientation. So I'm turning it around as I work. Now I'm upside down at the moment, and I've been creating that knuckle, but you can see it's way off on the little bit here, or on the lower side. So what I can do now is I can take a little bit more off this one, because this is my lower finger wrapping around the test tube here. 1, 2, like that. There. That's how that's going to happen, but not in that position. It's going to be higher up, but we're just sneaky up on it. So what I can do now is I can take some of that off, that corner, and round this over, because as I said, this is going to be round to the bottom. So I'll take some of that off now, and then I'm going to start working this finger down that way. But going from underneath is quite interesting. Okay, stop. Right, so down this line here, which I'll put in for you here, that's going to be knuckle 1, shall we call it. That's a big knuckle. We go into the second knuckle here somewhere. That's knuckle 2. And there's going to be this third knuckle along here, which is going to become down here. Something like that. This is very, very rough, remember that. It's just really, really early stages, trying to get a sense of where this is a Bosting in, trying to get the sense of where each part is. So I'm just going to take that off, and bear in mind when we were underneath like that, you can look at your picture like that, and you can see also how that's working. So don't forget your photographs. It's a little difficult to see what's going on, I've got to say, for you, but you've got to keep thinking in terms of planes and big pictures. I'm just going to take that off there for the moment. So that's that knuckle there. Okay, so we've got 3 changes of planes here. And what I think we need to do now is take a little bit away from the wrist and this bit here to give us a little bit more wood to play with. So I'm going to be taking all this off like this, and we're going to do this square to begin with, and then we'll be rounding it over in a little while. So I've taken some here and here just to give us a bit of a sense of a wrist coming in. What I want to do now is start working on the thumb, because I think the thumb is really an important part of this whole carving. So if we look at the thumb at the moment, we look at this here, put your hand like that, you can see you've got a knuckle here, which will be about there somewhere. Then you come to a second knuckle here. And if you look, this is the furthest out point. So this knuckle is going to be on the surface of the wood over here. And then it drops down, so there's a change of plane again. It comes up here, down there, and we'll, of course, round into there, but into where the test tube is. So I want to really establish that, where that thumb is. And of course, then it's undercut or sort of pushed back under here, this big muscle there. But, okay, so I've got just lining this up somewhere. It's going to be somewhere here. It's my high spot, and my other knuckle is about there. So I'm going to start losing some of this squareness by just perhaps a smaller tool, just quietly picking away. Just have a check. Yep, and then this comes down here. So let me just, so one knuckle is somewhere about there, and the other knuckle is quite up here, about somewhere like that. So all this corner needs to come off here. Of course, I could get a saw in there, but doesn't take too long like this, I don't think. I've got this point here, which is sorry. Okay. This point here is this knuckle here, and it drops down to the thumb. So just roughly, thumb is going to head down like this. So I'm getting that in, and you'll notice that this is, the thumb is pretty much of a straight line across here, and the fingers curl into it. Yeah. So you might find as you're working that you want to take a bit of this side of the thumb into the hole. That's okay. Don't take too much at the moment. We're going to get the thumb finished before we've done everything else. So, but by all means, just run a little bit lose some of that hard edge if you must round into there. So you can see also the side of my fist here, how much this drops down, which is this second point here, which I've established. So I've got to take wood back there, behind here, into the wrist. I've got to take wood away underneath here. Yeah, and there's this big thumb muscle here, big fat muscle, which has got to come down there and into there. So there's a lot of wood here to come away. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take these, these sort of lumps away. And what I'm going to do is not just cut into it. I'm going to try and work around my thumb like this first of all. Right, so I don't just cut straight in. I'm going to have to turn this over for that. Okay, so here I am with the thumb more or less in place. I say more or less because there's still wood to be taken away. I've cut underneath here. You have to be careful not to make this too small, because once you commit yourself to taking space away here, you can't move the thumb down or move it around. So at this stage, we're not taking too much wood away. We're looking quite blocky, quite chunky. And this muscle here doesn't make a lot of sense with all this block of wood. Look, this is still completely square. This makes no sense at all as a hand. So we have to, the next stage, start taking some of this away and moving into the thumb. And you can see here, this slope here, that's going to be the back of the hand at some point. So that's going to come round down to here. So we've got to start now, leave this where it is, nice and chunky, more wood to be removed, and start taking away some of these corners and these lumps of wood.